Karine Jean-Pierre closing up her book and heading out of the briefing room after Jackie Heinrich, our reporter there, was pressing her a little bit, Kayleigh, and I want to bring you in because you have firsthand experience in her shoes there. But Jackie was pressing her a little bit on this notion during the election that if the outcome that happened were to happen, that the American people would lose their freedoms, that they would have their rights taken away from them. She took umbrage to answering that.
I thought that was a fantastic question because there is cognitive dissonance amid the American public when you've heard this is a fascist. You heard MAGA is a threat to democracy. That was Biden in that speech just before the midterms. They're a threat to the very foundation of the republic. That was President Biden's quote. So to then just say everything's going to be okay, the American people have some whiplash here. So which is it? Are we about to see a fascist? We know we're not. Or is everything going to be okay? That aside, I do understand Karine Jean-Pierre's frustration with everyone asking her to be a political prognosticator. It's not her job to give a postmortem of what went wrong. Fair, reporters are going to ask it, but she avoided doing that. And I do, at least the parts of what I saw, appreciate her refusal to criticize President Trump. She was asked earlier in the briefing, do you fear Trump's policy? She didn't even go there and dismissed it as a hypothetical. I appreciated Biden's word this morning. I appreciated Karine Jean-Pierre's. I didn't so much appreciate the vice president's yesterday. She used the word fight a number of times. There was a dig in there. I think the way Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre are handling this so far has been above board.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the answer we would have ever gotten from her in that moment, but you know, the American people obviously did not align with the idea that they feared fascism. And that's American people of all colors and backgrounds and genders who brought about a very broad electoral victory for former President Trump. So it's very interesting. There was another moment that we missed that I want to play because it has to do with a question that has come up. It's a specific issue around Hunter Biden because President Biden in the past has said that he would not pardon his son. And after Harris lost, there was a lot of speculation that indeed that was going to be forthcoming, that he's about to be sentenced in several weeks. Here was the answer to the pardoning Hunter question. Let's watch.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Yeah, you know, President, that obviously was not a question about a commutation, which is different from a pardon. President Biden has previously said, I will not even commute my son's sentence. I personally am a bit shocked by that. You'd think as a lame duck president on your way out, it's something you would do. But I would say this, and I'm not suggesting, I have no indication that President Trump would do this, but if Joe Biden makes the cases go away against Trump, Trump will end them, those cases won't proceed. But if President Biden chooses to do that, what if President Trump in return pardoned Hunter Biden and said, this is a national moment of unity, let's all move together as a country forward? He may not, but it's an interesting thought.
It sure is. Kayleigh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to see you again.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.